My mom came to one of your retreats, and flash forward to when I was 21, I lost my firstborn child. He was born prematurely, and then the next year I got pregnant again. This is from a previous relationship, and I was told at the same exact time, the same amount of weeks that I was when I lost my child the first time. I went into the hospital. They said, you're in preterm labor, you're going to lose the baby. But I just had this knowing come over with me. I was with my sister in Lewa, and I said, Spirit said she's supposed to be here. And at that time, I hadn't done any type of ultrasounds or anything like that. I just had this knowing. And they said, you need to stay here at the hospital. I said, no, I need to go home. I need to be in a space that feels safe. I need to be in a space that I feel connected to. So I went home against their wishes and I stayed on bed rest for a week. And my mother sent me your book, her copy, hard copy. And she said, you read this, during this time. And so I did the gateway for the womb. It changed my life because I finally saw my womb as something sacred. I released all sexual trauma. I released pain. I released the thought that my womb was a place of death after losing my child. And I was in the sun every day. I was drinking my water. I was drinking my green juices. I was affirming so much over my life. And I said things like, with the womb affirmations, my womb is sacred and so is my
life. Greetings. My name is Queen Afua. I help people to live a healthy life in body, mind, and spirit. Welcome into the Sacred Circle, where you will find peace, inspiration, and practical tools for living a happy wellness lifestyle. So come inside and make yourself at home. Oh, there you are, beautiful one.
Peace, Queen.
I put my glasses on to see all this beauty, honey. Oh, yes.
I'm so honored to be here with you today.
Thank you. Thank you
Absolutely.
for being here. Let everyone in our community here, our Sacred Circle, let them meet you. Some of them know you and been following you, and some of them are meeting you for the first time. So tell us about yourself.
Okay, I am a singer, a songwriter, a rapper. People know me for different things in different circles. A lot of my music is very steeped in Afro-Indigenous culture and heritage. I learned to sing from my mother and my grandmother. My mother, she can do everything, but she's a jazz singer. She was singing in like Afro-Cuban and Afro-Latino bands when I was small. She learned to sing from my grandmother, who was a choir director in Chicago. They all came up from Mississippi. We're from the Mississippi Band of the Choctaw. And so by the time I was born, they had converted to Islam, so I didn't get to sing in church. But I would go to my grandmother's house in the summertime, and I would learn all the spirituals, all the escape songs from slavery. She played the piano. She taught me to play. I learned traditional songs, Native American songs, Tuscarora, Lakota, Meherrin, Choctaw, all these different songs that I learned as a child. I learned African songs from the bands. My mother played with, studied Leta and Bulu and Huma Akiyla and Angelique Kidjo and Mary Makeba. So I had like a very wide palette, wide range of musical, lineage to pull from. And I'm a hip hop artist. That's the music of my generation. I started rapping when I was about 10 years old, battling my older brother for front porch privileges to be able to sit on the front steps. And so all of these experiences I bring into my music that I do for the world. But I understand music first as a tool for healing, for sound healing. I would watch my mother and my grandmother sing over people when they were in pain, or having any kind of sickness. They would sing over their bodies and pull the pain out. And so that's my first understanding of music. And that's my core. You know, that's how I understand sound, and so that's my core. So for anybody out there who has ever been to a show of mine, sometimes my mother still does come back and perform with me, and they can probably attest to it's a ceremony. It's a ceremony on stage.
Yes. That is absolutely amazing that you and your mother performed together.
Yeah.
And that you have a legacy. And, you know, how do we grow and be so extraordinary? Because if we have some shoulders and we're conscious of it and we give honor to it, then we grow that much more. So that you bring to the table of medicine. I look at music as medicine. How has your music healed you, transformed you, the different stages of your life? How did it show? Because I look at everything as medicine. Or
Yeah. I mean, I first started like when I was a kid. I'm a middle child, but I was always a kind of a loner. I have 13 siblings.
Wow.
But I was always very much like to myself, just in my own world, doing my own thing. And I guess I've always been an activist because I was very cognizant when things were out of balance. And I felt strongly about it. You know, I wanted to correct things. I didn't like when I would see things out of order, and I would sit at the piano and cry and write songs about all the things that I felt was going on that I didn't like, you know. And that was like my first healing, you know, even things from, you know, my father was incarcerated when I was young. And just seeing my brother go through issues with the police and him leaving home. And my mother sent him to Africa when he was about 16. And just, you know, being picked on by your siblings, just whatever those things are that I was dealing with, I would just sit at the piano for hours and just cry or sing myself to sleep. I would just create songs to help me process how I was experiencing life, you know, what I was born into. I grew up in Baltimore. So it was a lot to really try to understand. And I was one of those kids who, you know, I'm an old soul, they say. So I was always, I was asking deep questions when I'm 5 and 6. You know, I really wanted to understand the world. And I started fasting when I was maybe 7 years old. And I was sneaking fast because my mother told me I was losing too much weight and I was too young to fast. But I still wanted to fast, so I would, you know, sneak and fast. So I just was like in my own little world, you know, just trying to understand things in my head.
How did you know about fasting at age 7?
Because my family was Muslim, so they would fast during Ramadan.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so and also Muslims fast on Monday and Thursdays. So I would try to fast on my own. And throughout my life, it would be like that, where I would write songs to process everything that I experienced, what I was seeing, like not understanding why things were. I was born into a world where things were just upside down and just not understanding why. And then later on, when I started recording music and putting it out for other people, I realized that it was just as healing for them as it had been for me, but it started out as my own personal healing. I miss being on stage so much because when I'm on stage, it's like a filtration process. Like I feel like I'm put inside of a filter and sifted out all of the soot and, you know, the dirt and the hurt.
Like you go through a purification right before.
Yes, every time.
Yes. Oh, that's
every time.
So you end up purifying the audience then.
Yeah, but I do it for myself. I do it so I can purify myself and everybody is healed. Yeah.
That's beautiful medicine. What did you do, because you're still so vibrant, what did you do during this coronavirus? Or what are you doing? Give us 2 or 3 things that you have been doing that has been fortifying your immune system emotionally and physically.
Yeah, resting is one. You know, in the music business, they have this trend that you shouldn't sleep. You know, like if you sleep, then you're not a hard worker. You know, they'll say sleep when you die. And yeah, that's a great recipe to die early. So one thing is really making sure that I'm resting a lot, bathing more, like taking aromatherapy baths has been really helpful. Fasting has been really helpful, strengthening my immune system. You know, if I feel my body kind of like, and you know, long before you ever develop a sickness, you know something is like imbalanced. Whether it's like your stomach feels a little weird or like your neck or just whatever, just being more cognizant of your body and the shifts, the small nuanced shifts. So if I feel anything like that, I'll start fasting. just making sure I'm drinking a lot of water. I'm taking my herbs and things like that. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And
Well,
affirmations too. Affirmations.
Affirmation. Give us an affirmation that works for you.
Yeah, I journal all the time. I write down in my affirmations. I am well. I'm a vibrant being. I'm full of vitality. All the cells in my body work together for my greatest good and highest health. I just say that like all the time, and especially if I feel any kind of imbalance in my system. My body knows what to do. It is seeking balance. I'm assisting my body in seeking balance. I allow and give permission to my body to find its balance and be in its highest form of health and wellness.
Give thanks. Ashe. Hello, we appreciate that. Can you give us a touch of your art? Whether it's a rap or a song, so we can go into your medicine.
Yeah. Okay. What's on my heart? Okay. I'm going to sing a little bit in Yoruba, and it just says, what God has created, no man can destroy. Ishe Oluwa kò lè bàjẹ́. Ishe Oluwa kò lè bàjẹ́. Kò lè bàjẹ́. Kò lè bàjẹ́. Ishe Olúwa kò lè
Oh, how I love you. Oh, how we all love you.
Oh, Mama, I've been loving you my whole life. I've known who you are my whole life.
We have been together. When I see you, I see your family.
Yes, ma'am.
I feel your family through you. You have healed. Your melody is went to my back of my brain, up to my crown, and opened up my ucha to the highest level. I know you have medicine in you. We're privileged to get a tune-up and a tone-up through your vibration. This is vibrational healing to the highest degree.
Yes, ma'am.
How do we keep up with you and your light and your love and your music and your medicine?
Yes, ma'am. I have an album coming out. It'll be out in May, but we're gonna start releasing some of the songs by the end of the month. My website is just Mumu Fresh, MU Fresh. And yeah, so we'll be posting when the songs come out, and on my Instagram I'll be posting when the songs are out. But yeah, I'm really excited about releasing this new music. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Greetings.
Wow, yes. I love the reflection that I'm looking, because that's what I see for the world. This represents the embodiment of what we need as a people to be lifted up. You have a well woman, you have a well man, you bring together the wellness, and then we have a whole new generation of powerful women and men. So thank you for being that representation of the power. Something they need to do?
Could you tilt your camera up a little bit? Your heads are cut off.
Yeah, bring it up so that I can see your whole body. Yay. Ooh, wonderful.
Thank you.
Different. Please, wellpreneurs, you better coin and own that, trademark it. You're looking at it 6 months and I said, wait a minute, they took, no, okay, you can't see it. So please share with us, each one of you, first of all, how did you even come together? And then take the walk of wellness together, and how long you been together? Give all of that. Who wants to start?
So grateful to be in this space with you. You are an incredible being, so thank you.
Thank you.
We have been together going on 8 years. We met at FAMU, HBCU college, and we all are part of a soul tribe, which we love so much. And we came together because, you know, we really felt we just really felt like we had some work to do together. And despite all obstacles, despite all odds, and we've been together since then. And Spirit has really called us to do a lot of healing work together, from the divine feminine side and the divine masculine side, and bringing that together and creating that within our own home with our children and with our soul tribe, as we are also homeschoolers. And so,
how old are the children? How old are your children? How old are they?
We got a 3, a 5, and a 9-year-old.
Wonderful. Good thing.
Have our extended children in our soul tribe. It's all 8 of them together, as we're a community of people coming together to help one another as a modern day village.
Fantastic. Okay, so as a unity, you came together, you saw the vision, you met young, and then you started to study and train together and activate, and you have the business. What I'm going to hear from brother now, your divine half of your other side of yourself, reflection. What have you been able to do? How did you keep yourself together all those years? Because you can develop a business, and then challenges come in, and you got to stay together because you have a business too. You have children.
Yeah.
So how did you keep it together as a unit?
I think just revisiting the principles that we stand on together, and fasting, you know, in a very deep way, juice fasting and water fasting, and setting up sacred space for our couples, so for our union, so that we can actually see each other. So we kind of had to change the dynamic of how we even relate to each other. So as opposed to me relating to her or her relating to me, we look at it as like, it's us, and how can we steward the space around us? How can we pour into the space around us? And then that'll dictate what emerges and what grows from us. And then also getting wise counsel from elders, you know, like yourself. Actually, when I met her, she put me onto your book, and I was like, what? This lady exists? And then so then I got Man, Heal Thyself. And I just wanted to let you know how it's an intricate part of our glow.
I know, I feel you. I mean, I feel such a oneness with both of you. So I know that the journey was, we were bonded early on.
Yes,
So take us to the journey. You're letting us know, that the listening audience, you're letting them know how your energy became one. You had Man Heal Thyself, the book. Yes. And were you connected to Sacred Woman?
I did. I met you when I was 6 months old. My mom came to one of your retreats.
When you were, how old were you?
Months. My mom came to one of your retreats, and flash forward to when I was 21, I lost my firstborn child. He was born prematurely. And then the next year I got pregnant again. This is from a previous relationship. And I was told at the same exact time, the same amount of weeks that I was when I lost my child the first time, I went into the hospital. They said, you're in preterm labor, you're going to lose the baby. But I just had this knowing come over with me. I was with my sister in Lewa, and I said, Spirit said she's supposed to be here. And at that time, I hadn't done any type of ultrasounds or anything like that. I just had this knowing. And they said, you need to stay here at the hospital. I said, no, I need to go home. I need to be in a space that feels safe. I need to be in a space that I feel connected to. So I went home against their wishes and I stayed on bed rest for a week. And my mother sent me your book, her copy, hard copy. And she said, you read this, during this time. And so I did the gateway for the womb. It changed my life because I finally saw my womb as something sacred. I released all sexual trauma. I released pain. I released the thought that my womb was a place of death after losing my child. And I was in the sun every day. I was drinking my water. I was drinking my green juices. I was affirming so much over my life. And I said things like, with the womb affirmations, my womb is sacred and so is my
life.
Exactly. And so is my baby's life.
Exactly. Lovely.
And then a couple months later, I birthed at home full term. So your book was a catalyst in my life. And I've shared it with so many people. When we got together, I did the Sacred Woman Journey again with my best friend, Elewa. And that's when him and I started talking. And I was like, this woman is amazing. She has taught me so much. And so we got the demand here thyself. And the wonderful thing about, when we got together was that we both were dedicated to integration and healing. Mm-hmm. We came to each other. I don't want to come to you with all my traumas, with all my biases, with all the things that I'm working through. Like, I want to come to you whole, knowing that you're whole, knowing that you are whole. And together we created just another Venn diagram, like a flower of life, created more ripples into the universe that is going to be uplifting and transformative. And ever since we've been on that journey, even when we wrote our vows to one another, it was, if we ever are thrown off, may we fast and pray together. May we speak divinely to each other. We don't do things like raise our voices or curse at each other. And we take sacred space and time before we come together to, work through whatever it is. So as you asked, even as us having a business, and of course it's hard, at first, because we left our businesses that we were hired at. Because Spirit said, you got to move to Atlanta and you got to start your business. Everything you've been doing on the sideline is now supposed to come to the forefront. And we just followed that, and we've been moving through that ever since. And the unfolding has been nothing short of amazing.
This is an amazing reflection. That's why I'm looking at the two of you, and I'm seeing my consciousness. That's what I'm seeing. I'm almost up from a place of an ancestor, looking upon the children. And what did you do while you were walking the path of your life? And you're showing me what I did, walking my path and being convicted, because I knew one day, one by one, then two by two, I would see this divine reflection. If you can just hold on to your vision, one day you will see your divine full reflection. And in that, you've been able to birth a whole world. I loved, you did homeschooling. I did that with my children. I brought them into cultural schools and vegetarian schools. Back in the 70s and 80s, we had that. You continued that. And you're working together. I feel like I'm looking at myself in my 20s and 30s.
Wow.
This is like what's blowing me away. I'm so grateful that every journey, I had fires, I had floods, I had ending relationships, beginning new ones, all of that. And then I said it was worth it. It was worth the entire journey to see this, because it's the beginning of a whole new people. You don't have to be broken. You don't have to be wounded. Even if we were broken, and even if we were wounded, we don't have to stay there. So give thanks. And now with all of that, you create the entrepreneurs, the freedom train. You have your own work, making your own money. I call myself the bank. I used to call myself, the center, this hospital. I said, just come in, whatever your problems are. If I don't know, I just go to the creator. And download, upload, here you go. I said, now I'm the bank. So being entrepreneurs, you've been able to build your own bank. And being entrepreneurs who homeschool, you have your own educational system, and you have other families that are integrated into that. That's the birth of a nation. Yes. That's the building of a nation. And so I just want to commend you. So within entrepreneurship, your work, tell us how you do your work now. How do you bring what you gathered in all your time, and then in your counseling, in your coaching, how to translate that, give us that, so we can walk in that journey with you.
Yeah, so basically, based on our research and work with people, which has grown from people hitting us up, asking us, life questions and how to kind of maneuver around that, it's kind of grown into our teaching platform as far as courses and retreats that we have. And then also, just starting to resurrect the idea and plan of having women's healing circles. And for me, on my behalf, having men's healing circles. So it's literally been like this poetry in motion, living, breathing, okay, this is what needs to happen next, you know. And so then we just apply it, you know, and we see that as long as we do the work on ourselves, it's gonna be seen, it's gonna be heard, and there will be a space for people to do that together. So a lot of what we have going on is now about group consciousness, soul consciousness, because we see that the highest form of therapy is a loving relationship. Because once again, it creates that space where all of these energies can emerge, they can become channeled, and they really bring out the best in us.
Fantastic. So we have the masculine principle well spoken. We have the Ankh right here, the symbol of life, in the flesh, in the melanin. And now the feminine principle, please share the work that you do as a unified force.
Yes. So we have dedicated ourselves to studying the things that are most important to us and have helped us along our journey. We are self-healers. And once we saw the transformation within our own lives, we wanted to be able to create a business that can help others to do the same for themselves. We didn't want to create a business that was pharmaceutical, where you feel like you're dependent upon, but that you can rebirth yourself. So we have things like intuitive counseling, which is a combination of our spiritual teachings and having gone to school and understanding psychology, sociology, and counseling, and putting those things together. We're reading your energy. We're reading things that's being said that you're not saying. We're hearing things that's not being said and things like that. And using spiritual practices along with mental health practices to help you to overcome your obstacles. We understand that trauma is one of the greatest obstructions within our lives that keep us going, that keep us from evolving. So we like to start there. Let's start with your trauma. Let's sit with it. Let's look at it. Let's go into the darkness. There's light on the other end. Because when we don't work through all that darkness, it shows up in other ways. You know, we notice where people can have a lot of knowledge, but don't really have the wisdom and application of the knowledge that they received. And we feel like the biggest reason of that is because there's unhealed traumas, unaddressed things that they've
Give
gone
us an example of the trauma that was to stifle you, and how do you use your work to break through that trauma? Whoever's like.
Okay. So an example of a trauma is, well, one of the things that we see a lot is childhood trauma, whether you've been neglected or abandoned or didn't have a safe space that you can feel comfortable in. So we would do a lot of inner child work where you have to talk to the child, reparent, do a lot of emotional reparenting, go back into a space and time. Let's say, for example, you were sexually molested or abused. And in that moment when you spoke up, maybe your parents or the people who are supposed to care for you was not there for you in the way that you needed them to be. So take yourself back into that space and time. Hear yourself telling yourself, this is what happened to me. And now envision and visualize yourself pouring into yourself what you needed. Be the parent of that inner child that feels left out or alone and abandoned and neglected. Hug on that child, love on that child. Tell that child, I'm here for you, baby. I see you. And I'm going to continue to pour into you so you feel protected, so you know who you are, so that you don't move through this life stuck in this space and time. We're really, really big on moving people from being stuck in a space and time, so that, you know, clearing out the energy so they can move forward and build that bridge between their child self and now their adult self.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you. Share with us briefly, each one give us one or two things that you've done during this pandemic that has you so vibrant and well. You know, we carry the wellness in us. We just have to live well, live holistic and naturally. So some are not, you know, have been sick. They've had respiratory issues. They had immune issues. And so when a virus comes, it takes them possibly. What are you doing as an individual, a couple, a family that fortifies you? Please share with us our masculine reflection.
So one practice that I've been going into is something that we call the quantum dive. and it's essentially like a body scan meditation. I'm doing personally like a lot of works with my pelvis and my feet. So for me, this practice is profound because basically all I'm doing is relaxing my face muscles, dropping my unclenching my jaw, dropping my shoulders, and literally moving my consciousness or the energy of my awareness into my pelvis, into my hips. And all I do is just wait and see what arises and comes up. And so for me, it sounds so simple, but it's such a powerful practice because I realized that we have this tendency to jump out of our body and disassociate, especially a thought that comes up. A little bit of our consciousness comes up out of our body, but bringing that consciousness back into our body, I've awakened the intelligence in my pelvis. I've awakened the intelligence in my lower self. And so with that, you know, it's different revelations that's been coming up for me. And I feel way more vibrant, way more exhilarated. And I come to find out that, so they say this virus has protein molecules on it that try to attach to your receptor sites. But if you have a lot of adrenaline and oxytocin in your system, it's hard for this virus to latch on to the actual molecule. So that's been one of my practices for this COVID, diving deep into my body and seeing what emerges.
Jump and dive deep into the body. We all did that just right when you were speaking. That I do. That's prostate wellness too. You went into your core.
Yes.
Yeah, you went in. You brought everything out. You cleared the pathway. Oh, I do love that. That's so wonderful. Okay, our feminine principle. What's that key thing that you've been doing to keep your immune system up?
A lot of things, you know, making sure that we eat well as a family. When COVID hit, we was on a raw fast for a few months. So it was good.
Well fortified.
We weren't worried.
we weren't worried. And just, you know, surrounding ourselves with people who are of high vibration, of love, that are dedicated to the work. And the knowing that nothing is stopping was healing in itself for me and protecting for me. Reading books, spiritual literature, meditation, affirmations, mantras, and different things like that are really, and music, of course, because we are musicians, that really just keep me aligned, keep me whole. Spending time with my children, spending time outside. When you got on, Queen, you said springtime is here. I was like, yes, I know. I'm so happy because springtime is like everything. The flowers are blooming, the sun is out. I can lay out in the grass, my favorite space, and just doing things that I love, that bring me joy, and activate bliss inside of me is what keeps me healthy, keeps me vibrant, or keeps me sane. And those are the things I'm deeply grateful for.
Amazing. Oh, I know everyone feels more balanced now because what you're giving us is the balance between the masculine and the feminine, the things that you were able to do individually, but really collectively as a family. Job well done. You know, you're ahead of everything. In other words, where people are now doing homeschooling because they have to and it's stressing them out. You are already doing it, okay? Where people are getting sick, you're already living a lifestyle that elevates you to a certain high frequency so you don't have the issues, and it's evident. You're already entrepreneurs, so you can't be fired. So that's called freedom. Yeah. You make your money from your own vision. So that is high level living. Yes. And so that's why when I saw you, I said, okay, you know, you can have a hypothesis, something that you're trying to get to. And then when you see it in your face, you say, mission accomplished. The formulation worked. This is my prayer. And so thank you for being the Ankh, for being the unity, for being a divine reflection, because so many people will heal because of a reflection, a mirror. We're the originators of the mirror. Look in the mirror. Michael Jackson even said it. Look at the man, the woman in the mirror. And if you go ahead and do your inner work, Go in. Do that deep dive.
Jump,
That
dive,
deep
dive,
dive.
Right? That deep dive into your inner work and your inner transformation. You will see a transformation outside of yourself.
Yes.
I know we get a little impatient because we don't, well, why aren't you doing this? And how come you don't get it together? But it's really us. I have a little book that has not been written. It's called It's All Me.
Mm.
Go within, continue to do what you're doing, and bring your best to us because you are at your best. And I support you. Thank you so much. How do we follow you and keep up with you?
You can follow us at A Vegan's Paradise on Instagram. Our website is supremeessencepfw.com. We have some retreats coming up, the awakening and the yoga of the soul. So you can go on our website and check that out so that you can join in us on the healing journey.
Thank you to all my subscribers. We are giving away a free 7-day detox kit when we reach our milestone goal of 50,000 subscribers to this channel. To enter for your chance to win, all you have to do is subscribe to our channel, like and comment on this video, and we will choose the winner from the comments section. Thank you for growing with us. Ashe.